Paratmanamekam Jagadbijamadyam Niriham Nirakaram Onkar Vidyam Yato Jayate Palyate Yena Vishwam Tamisham Bhajeli Yate Yatra Vishwam Hari Om Tat Hari Om Tat Hari Om Tat Dear devotees, it's a matter of joy to meet all of you once again after a couple of months. In the month of March, we had finished the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. And today we shall commence the 10th chapter of the Gita. So before we get into the main subject, just to brush up what we had studied, because it's a continuity of the ideas. You might have noted in Bhagavad Gita, it's a stream which is flowing. Stream which is flowing from the mouth of Sri Krishna, the stream of supreme knowledge, the knowledge of the ultimate reality. Acha, Sri Krishna himself is not the source. The source is the Upanishads. Sri Krishna is only a gateway from whose mouth the wisdom of the Upanishads is coming down to you and me. So we should always remember, the ultimate source of this wisdom of the supreme reality is the Upanishads, which is the very base of what we today know as Hindu Dharma or the Vedic system of thought. So, Shankaracharya, in his famous Bhaja Govindam Stotram, you all remember, many of you may be aware of it, one of his finest compositions, simply indescribable in its profundity and a graphic presentation of reality of life, and for its power of awakening the sleeping soul. This Charpata Panjarika Stotram is something matchless. So I would just like to refer to that last verse of that Charpata Panjarika Stotram or Bhaja Govindam, where Shankaracharya says, Kurute Ganga Sagar Gamanam Vrata Paripalanam Athava Danam Jnanavihina Sarvamatena Muktim Na Bhajati Janmashate Bhaja Govindam Bhaja Govindam Govindam Bhaja Moramate Samprapte Sannihite Marane Nahi Nahi Rakshati Tunkaran Karan. So Shankaracharya is saying that no matter what you do, you may go for pilgrimage. We all go for pilgrimage. Ganga Sagar Gamanam. We go to take bath in the Ganga Sagar, Magh Mela, we know that. You can do that. Or Vrata Paripalanam. You can take vows, different vows. Devotees, they take this vratam, that vratam, different vows. You can do that. Or you can do charity. You can do charity. You can do many good deeds. He wants to say that no matter what you do, if all these actions, they don't end up in the attainment of supreme knowledge, then it is, in its truest sense, not giving the real fruit. Jnana Vihina, without this attainment of supreme knowledge. Attainment of supreme knowledge. Knowledge about what? This mystery of who am I? The mystery, the biggest mystery in this creation is that we ourselves are the biggest mystery. What is my true nature? without knowing this, without unraveling the mystery of the strange thing which we are experiencing through our senses, without unraveling this mystery, muktim na bhajati janma shatena, there is no chance of becoming freed from our captivity of the cycle of birth and death. It's not possible. Khandana bhavabandhana is not possible without knowing the true nature of the ultimate reality. Therefore, bhaja govindam, govindam bhaja moramate. Be devoted to the ultimate reality. Be devoted to the ultimate reality. Seek the ultimate reality by being devoted to the ultimate reality. Bhaja Govindam means what? You are devoted. Devoted to what? The ultimate reality. When we become one-pointedly devoted to that ultimate reality, in and through that kind of one-pointed devotedness, what emerges is that supreme knowledge. So in this, there's a big principle which Shankaracharya is placing before all of us. You know what he's saying? He means to say that, see, first we have to acquire the correct knowledge of what this ultimate reality is. And from where are we going to derive this correct knowledge of what this ultimate reality is? This correct knowledge has to come from the scriptures. We have no other source. It has to come from the Upanishads and it has to be learned from an eligible teacher. This is an incontrovertible and indispensable factor for all serious seekers of the truth. Just by reading some books, it is not going to happen. The true nature of the ultimate reality, and not the ultimate reality as we are imagining, these are two different things. You may imagine the ultimate reality in whichever way you want. Everybody is free to just conceptualize the ultimate reality in one form or the other. But what is the true nature of the ultimate reality as it is, not as I imagine or you imagine? So that knowledge comes only from the scriptures, and the scriptures have to be listened to through some eligible teacher. This is a condition, absolutely. It comes from Guru Shishya Parampara. There is no escape from this. You cannot just read some books and get it. No, it doesn't happen that way. Secondly, initially we gain this so-called knowledge from the scriptures. It will be a conceptual knowledge. Now, what the scripture is going to tell us, now that is going to be the theme of this 10th chapter also, which we have already seen in our earlier chapters. Starting from the 15th chapter, we are actually going from back to the first. Usually, that is how this whole Gita session started. I should have started it from the first chapter, but somehow I started it from the 15th chapter. And then I'm going backward now. Whatever it is, from the first to last or from last to first, the central theme of the overall whole of the Bhagavad Gita is only one. That there is nothing existing apart from Ishvara or Brahman. This is the one central theme, the one central tune which is being played by the Upanishads, by Sri Krishna, by Shankaracharya, by Vivekananda and Ramakrishna. There is no second entity existing apart from Ishvara, but we are far away from that knowledge presently. In our understanding today, we have all kinds of notions about God. So the initial idea of what this ultimate reality is, once again I'm repeating this point, the initial idea of what this ultimate reality actually is, it has to come from the scriptures. And that idea will be conceptual. It is a good conceptual idea. That idea will smash out many of the imaginary ideas which we have in our mind. When our mind forms a true conceptual picture of what this ultimate reality is, that is what is known as Bhagavat Tattva Jnanam. Shankaracharya refers to this, if you all remember, in the 15th chapter. Bhagavat Tattva Jnanam Moksha Phalam. I'm just brushing up many things. This moksha phalam, the fruit of moksha or liberation, is attained by this Bhagavat Tattva Jnanam. When we have the true knowledge of the Supreme Reality, true knowledge, not some imaginary ideas. So, as I said, this Bhagavat Tattva Jnanam initially come from the scriptures. And that will be conceptual initial. And what is this Bhagavat Tattva Jnanam, or the ultimate picture of reality? The ultimate picture of reality is that there is nothing existing apart from Ishvara or Brahman. It is just like, Shankaracharya gives a beautiful illustration there. What is illustration? You see, this is a chadar, a cloth. What is this cloth made up of? It is made up of threads, is it not? Now the question is, what is actually existing in this? Is the cloth existing, or are the threads existing? Is there a second entity called cloth? It is all thread and thread alone, which is appearing in the form of cloth, is it not? What is the essential? I'm talking about the essential content or ingredient of this stuff called cloth. Cloths of so many colors, but all the cloths have essential ingredient of thread and thread alone. It is one thread which is appearing in the form of so many cloths. So actually speaking, clothes don't exist. What is existing is thread and thread alone. Shankaracharya's beautiful illustration which he gives. Similarly, in this texture of the so-called world, this texture which we are experiencing through our sense organs, the essential ingredient of that is Ishvara and Ishvara alone. Just like earth and pots, clay and pots, the pots and the jars and tumblers and plates, the different things, they are all made from one clay. The essential ingredient of all these different stuffs which we are seeing on the surface, it is nothing but clay and clay alone. What is actually existing is clay and clay alone. Just like one ocean and waves. Waves, question is, are the waves really existing? Or is it ocean which is actually existing? If you just probe into a certain wave, where do we land up? We'll land up in the discovery of infinite ocean. Where is the wave? It is the ocean. If you probe into one so-called pot, where is the pot? It is clay. If you probe into this one cloth, where is the cloth? It is thread. Similarly, when you probe into this mysterious thing called universe, we discover where is the universe? It is nothing but Ishvara and Ishvara alone. It is Brahman and Brahman alone. Nothing else is existing. Now, this is what is conceptual understanding of the Supreme Reality. Initially, it is going to be a conceptual understanding, which we are all having it. All of us have it. But this conceptual understanding alone is not going to solve our problems. So once we have this so-called the conceptual understanding of what the Supreme Reality is, and that understanding is what? There is nothing existing apart from Ishvara. There is only one thing. Now, what will be the natural response of this seeker of truth? This person will be one-pointedly devoted to that Supreme Reality. Devotion comes in and through the proper understanding of what the ultimate reality is, which is one without a second, from that is born a true kind of a devotion, the true bhakti, that person will be devoted one-pointedly, unwaveringly to that one Supreme Reality alone. And then through this devotion, what was earlier a conceptual knowledge, that will transform into an experiential knowledge of the ultimate reality. Once again, let me repeat this point. The conceptual knowledge is followed by the devotion for that one without a second reality. And through that one pointed, unwavering devotion for the ultimate reality, what was earlier conceptual will mature into an experiential understanding of that ultimate reality. What Shankaracharya wants to say is this is the connection between jnana and bhakti. First, initial, it will be conceptual jnanam. This conceptual jnanam which gives us true bhakti, not that superficial bhakti. Bhakti also has got two levels. Initially, it's all superficial. Our vague understanding about reality in this form and that form. But when we understand the supreme reality from the scriptures and from the Acharya or the Guru, when we begin to see this is all nothing but one without a second reality which is appearing in the form of Jiva and Jagat, it may be initially a conceptual understanding, but in and through that, what comes out from this so-called seeker of truth is what? He becomes devoted. He begins to see the divine everywhere. His devotion is not now temple-centered or one form-centered or one place-centered. He practices seeing divinity everywhere. And this devoted practice ultimately makes that conceptual knowledge mature into experiential knowledge. This is how jnanam evokes devotion, and devotion makes that earlier conceptual jnanam mature into experiential jnanam. Jnanam and bhakti. Through jnanam, bhakti comes, and through bhakti, the ultimate experience of that reality comes. Bhakti and jnanam are not two different things. Wherever there is true jnanam, true understanding of what the supreme reality is, true bhakti will come. And where true bhakti comes, there has to be the ultimate jnanam of that reality. This is the central theme of the Upanishads, the Gita, and all the great teachers. Beautiful. Now, this is what we find. If you all remember what was the topic of discussion in the 9th chapter. 9th chapter, so beautiful. One of the most striking shlokas of the 9th chapter was what? Where Sri Krishna says, Ananyas chintayanto ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vaham. You all remember that. It's one of the famous utterance of Sri Krishna. He says, Ananyas chintanam. Two things he says. Ananyas chintanam and pariupasanam. We have discussed this in detail. Ananyas chintanam means what? Ananya chintanam. A special kind of chintanam which comes from the scriptures. Now tell me, from where do we get this drishti? This drishti cannot come from any other books. It has to come from the Upanishads, which we have to listen to from some yogya teacher or acharya. It is like that. This ananyas chintanam, a special kind of a mental activity where the whole awareness is that there is nothing existing. Anya means different from Ishvara. Ananya, there is nothing existing separated or distinct from that ultimate reality called Brahman and Brahman. This is a special kind of a mental activity where the mind is constantly, completely suffused with this idea. Where the mind is completely suffused. It is suffused. It's a beautiful thing, The mind is completely soaked in this idea that there is nothing existing apart from that one reality. It is that one reality in so many forms. This is ananyas chintanam. This is what is the so-called, that knowledge coming from the scriptures, that drishti coming from the scriptures. Scriptures blessing us with this drishti. And when we have this kind of a drishti, what is going to be its natural so-called outcome as far as that practitioner is concerned? The outcome is going to be upasanam. Upasanam means worship, devotion. But what kind of a devotion? Only one form-centered devotion? Only one temple-centered devotion? Or devotion centered to some place somewhere? No. Devotion which is pari-upasanam, worshipping God everywhere and in every form. Pari means everywhere. So beautiful. Knowledge and devotion. Devotion and knowledge. So where you have that ananya drishti, that nothing is existing apart from Ishvara or Brahman, automatically bhakti becomes a natural. And bhakti then is not one form centered, it is not one place centered. There is no limitation to that bhakti. That bhakti is constant at all times, at all places. Pari-upasanam. Now, this is the wonderful development which should come into every person's life. God cannot be limited. The point is what we are searching for. It is infinite. It cannot be limited to one form, how much ever great that form may be. No. The ultimate reality, when the knowledge comes, you begin to see that ultimate reality throbbing in everybody equally. You cannot limit that reality. Initially, it is good to take the help of one certain form and offer our devotion to it. That is good. We need some point where our mind can be focused and concentrated. But truly speaking, when this Shastra Drishti comes, then we will be seeing that reality throbbing in every form. Ananyas Chintanam and Pari-upasana. So this is the beautiful theme which is running continuously in Bhagavad Gita and all our Shastras. And this is what Sri Krishna referred to in the 9th chapter as Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam. The supreme knowledge and the supremely, what should I say, the most mysterious secret which is not known to anybody. Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam. Pavitra idamuttamam. Pratyaksha-avagamam. Beautiful term. Sri Krishna has said. This is something which is pratyaksha-avagamam. It is directly realizable. It is so promising. Krishna is saying this is directly realizable. It is directly perceivable. One can directly realize this without the mediacy of anything. It is immediately experienced by any person who is ready for it. Pratyaksha avagamam. And then he says something very difficult for us to even believe that. He says it is susukham kartum. Susukham kartum means it is very easy to practice. But generally people say it is so difficult, Swamiji. But Sri Krishna is saying it is susukham kartum. It is so easy to practice. Actually, it's not an exaggeration what Krishna is saying. So who are we to counter Sri Krishna's words? If he's saying means easy, that is the ultimate truth. Krishna is saying this is easy to practice. Actually speaking, the ultimate reality is simple. All deviation from the ultimate reality is all complex and compound. The ultimate reality is simple. It is one without a second. That's all. Anybody with little bit of insight can catch it. So it is not very difficult. Let us not, we also have created many called, what should I say, a preconceived ideas. No. This non-duality is very difficult. It is not possible at all for the common people. We have created this kind of a, notion, and we are trapped inside that. We should try to come out of that trap. We should do that. We can do that. Because that's not the reality. If we are educated in this non-dual drishti right from the beginning, it is easy. In fact, the children should be given this non-dual drishti right from the childhood itself. Swami Vivekananda says, let the child grow up with the idea of Shivoham, Shivoham. They can catch it immediately. Because we have become, hypnotized and brainwashed with all kinds of opposing ideas. As we grow up, these things become difficult. Actually, that is the simplest thing to understand. Your true nature, Shivoham, Shivoham. It should come. Anyhow, now this is what we had seen in the 9th chapter. The essence of the 9th chapter was this, that there is only one reality. And this was also the theme of the 7th chapter also. Just to touch upon the 7th chapter a little bit, and then we can enter into the verses of the 10th chapter. So in the 7th chapter also, what was Krishna's main theme? Beautiful. Para Prakriti and Apara Prakriti, if you all remember. Para Prakriti and Apara Prakriti. Apara Prakriti is what? Matter. Para Prakriti is what? Consciousness. Krishna is saying this Para and Apara Prakriti, two kinds of nature. They are all Brahman's own two kinds of nature. It is Brahman or the Ishvara is made up of these two kinds of nature. One is matter and the other is consciousness. And he says everything that we are experiencing here, it's all the interplay of consciousness and matter. So scientific, pure science. If you just look into everything that is here, it is a mixture of consciousness and matter, inanimate and animate objects. We are all experiencing animate or inanimate objects. And whether it is inanimate or animate, it is all the interplay of these two prakritis. Whose prakriti? Ishvara's own prakriti, Brahman's own prakriti. One expressing itself in the form of consciousness and the other expressing in the form of matter. Everything is an interplay of matter and consciousness. Then Krishna says there in the 7th chapter, he says, Etad yonini bhutani sarvani iti upadharaya aham krishnasya jagataha prabhava pralayastata matta parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya mai sarvamidam protam sutre manigana iva. So beautiful. He's saying that I am the source of everything here through my two prakritis. It is Brahman which is expressing itself in the form of two prakritis, and everything here is made up of these two prakritis. That means nothing is separated from Brahman. Matta parataram nanyat kinchidasti. There is nothing beyond me. Everything is me and me alone. How? Just like one thread which is running through all the flowers, turning it into a beautiful garland. Just like this one thread which is running through all the flowers and turning it into a beautiful garland, similarly, it is one reality which is running through all these names and forms and which is appearing in the form of world and human beings. This is the beautiful vision which Sri Krishna presents there. The vision of one running through the many, the one is the many, there is no many, one alone is existing. These are the three stages in which we can understand. One, running in the many. Second is, there is no many. No many. There is one and one alone is existing. There is no many at all. This is the ultimate picture which actually is best, which we get from the scriptures when we study Bhagavad Gita. Now, this very idea now continues into the 10th chapter also. Now we shall see. In the 10th chapter, it's a beautiful. Introducing this 10th chapter, Shankaracharya makes a very beautiful comment here. He says, what is that? In the 7th chapter, Shankaracharya says, in the 7th chapter, and also in the 9th, the true nature of the ultimate reality has been revealed. We have seen what is the true nature of the ultimate reality in the 7th chapter, in the 9th chapter, and 8th chapter also. We have seen all those things. And the glories of the Lord also has been spoken about there. Both these chapters, the glories of the Lord also has been spoken about. Now we have to present those manifestations through which the Lord is to be meditated upon. Now, Shankaracharya says in the 10th chapter, the main topic of the 10th chapter is going to be the manifestation, the different manifestations of that supreme reality. That one supreme reality which is manifested in so many forms. And these manifestations can be used for our meditation. Actually speaking, as we have seen in the earlier chapters, here every form is actually speaking Brahman's form. Every form is divine, actually speaking. We may not be able to understand it now. Every name and form in this creation is actually divine. That is the beautiful vision which the Vedas, Hinduism alone gives. In all other systems, God is somewhere up in the sky, beyond the world. It in the Vedic systems tells us that every form is divine. We are actually, in one place, Shankaracharya says, throughout our life, we have never experienced anything but God, but we never understood it. In his great Brihadaranyaka Upanishad Bhashya, in one place, he mentions this, he hints at this point, that throughout our life we are actually interacting with divinity in so many forms, but we are not able to understand this. To understand this is the whole struggle of human life. So, here in the 10th chapter, what is going to be presented is the different manifestations of the divine, which is known as Vibhuti. A beautiful term comes here, Vibhuti. That's why the name of the 10th chapter is Vibhuti Yoga. Vibhuti Yoga means, yoga is what? Yoga means to be united with the reality. And here we are going to be united with the reality through the Vibhuti of Ishvara. Vibhuti means the different manifestations of Ishvara. Beautiful. Everything is the manifestation of Ishvara here. And we can take up certain manifestations which will facilitate this beautiful practice of meditation. Wonderful thing it is. Meditation, what a beautiful exercise. If you really understand the dynamics of what we do when we are meditating, you will fall in love with it. Again, let me repeat this point. If you really understand the dynamics of this so-called, a very special kind of an activity called meditation. Meditation is not an ordinary activity of the mind. Meditation is not an ordinary activity of the mind. It is a very, very special activity of the mind. And if we understand the basic principles and dynamics of what is actually happening in meditation, we are making the impossible possible. It is such a powerful method of realizing and experience the ultimate reality, for which we need something which can facilitate this great emergence of the knowledge to take place. And for that we need certain beautiful, anchors, certain supports where we can hook our mind. These are the beautiful manifestations of Ishvara which can be taken as supports, which can help us perform this meditation. So that is the main theme of the 10th chapter. So the ultimate reality we have learned from the scriptures, but to make it experiential, we need to be devoted to it. We need to have a meditative mind where the mind is fully fixed on that. To do that, we need some special manifestations of the divine, holding on to which we can ultimately have the experience of the ultimate reality. So that is the main theme of the so-called the 10th chapter here. Then, again in this 10th chapter, Sri Krishna is going to once again talk about the ultimate reality. So Shankaracharya says, again Sri Krishna in this chapter is going to once again repeat what is the true nature of the ultimate reality. Why? Why is Sri Krishna again going to repeat it? Because this ultimate reality is inscrutable. It escapes our understanding, because the human mind is so much clouded, the so-called ordinary human mind is so much clouded or distracted that we have to repeatedly talk about it, so that slowly this sinks into the mind and slowly we begin to see things clearly. So this repetition will be there in the Shastras. In every chapter of the Gita, we have seen the same thing is being repeated in one form or the other. It is happening. So that slowly, we hope that this so-called, this understanding, it sinks into our heart bit by bit, and it transforms. It will trigger devotion, bhakti, and more of meditation and the direct perception of that reality which is in our heart. So this is, in order to facilitate that, this is needed. So the 10th chapter starts with a verse where Sri Krishna tells Arjuna. Gita is a dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna. Sometimes some chapters starts with the question of Arjuna. In some chapter, without being asked, Sri Krishna himself starts the discourse. It's a beautiful discussion. You can imagine the teacher and the student and the dialogue which is going on between both of them. A beautiful, interaction. This is the most unique interaction. The interaction between a real teacher and a real seeker of truth. It is something, the rarest thing to happen in this creation. Shankaracharya says, Durlabham. It is the rarest thing to happen in this creation, Durlabham. where we find a true seeker of truth sitting at the feet of a true eligible teacher and learning. And the conversation can be simply illuminating. You see, that's why all of our scriptures are all conversations through which, through the churning of those ideas, emerges some wonderful things. Beautiful. It is only in Hindu scriptures. In other books, there is no conversation. It's all one way. You have to just believe it, that's all. Here it's all questioning and conversation. So anyway, so here in this 10th chapter, Sri Krishna starts the conversation where he says, Bhuya eva mahabaho shrunu me paramam vachah yatteham priyamanaya vakshyami hitakamyaya. Krishna is saying here, Bhuya eva. Bhuya means once again. Mahabahu. Mahabahu. The mighty Arjuna. The mighty Arjuna is addressed as Mahabahu. He was a warrior. The first thing, these words are very beautiful. We need strength. Even to understand Vedanta, you have to be a Mahabahu. Mahabahu means it need not be physical strength, but the mind has to be very strong. The mind of a seeker of a truth is a very strong mind, which is desperate to know the truth and which cannot be, what should I say, distracted or tempted by the so-called the things of the world. That is a very strong mind. It is one-pointed and its only one object of pursuit is the supreme reality alone. It's a very strong mind. So, Bhuya eva Mahabahu. A mighty Arjuna, once again, Bhuya means once again. Shruno, listen to me. Shri Krishna is telling Arjuna, listen to me. Me paramam vachah, my supreme utterance. Krishna is saying, listen to my supreme utterance, O mighty Arjuna. Yatteham priyamanaya vakshyami hitakamyaya. I am going to tell you, hitakamyaya, for your welfare. Now what Krishna is going to tell you, tell us, Krishna is going to tell us through Arjuna, for our welfare, for our well-being. So, what is being told to Arjuna by Krishna, it is not meant only for Arjuna, it is meant for all of us. Hitakamyaya. Hitakamyaya means with the intention of bringing about the true welfare and well-being of all of us. If we are all really aspiring for our own well-being, true welfare, this is what we have to pay attention to. And Priyamanaya. Priyamanaya means Arjuna is a person who takes delight in listening to the great wisdom flowing from the mouth of Sri Krishna. Priyamanaya means Arjuna is taking delight. The question is, are we taking delight in the teachings of Bhagavad Gita? Then we also will become Priyamana. Priyamana means one who takes delight in the teachings coming from Sri Krishna's mouth. So Arjuna is a person who is taking delight. He rejoices. He relishes. Now, relishes is a beautiful thing. You relish. When we eat something, we eat it with great relish. So if you just look into Arjuna's psyche, you can see that Arjuna is literally devouring what Krishna is telling. That is the kind of a framework, the mental framework which we need when we listen to the words of the teacher, because we are all hungry to know what ultimate reality is. It is only in this situation that the teacher also will pour his whole heart before the student. If the teacher finds that the student is sitting half-hearted, maybe drowsing, sleepy, half sleepy, then the teacher also won't be able to do justice to the subject. But when he finds a true seeker of truth, who is alert, who is hungry, whose appetite to know the supreme truth is simply burning, you can just imagine the interaction between Naren and Sri Ramakrishna. I always say one of the beautiful, momentous kind of a conversation which happens between this seeker of truth and the supreme teacher. In fact, all such conversations, they are simply indescribable. So anyway, here Sri Krishna is telling that, hey mighty Arjun, Once again, listen to me. Once again means why? This topic which I have told you before, it is very difficult for the common people to understand. It is very difficult to grasp. That's why I'm going to repeat it. That shows the compassion of the teacher. Sri Krishna is so compassionate. The teacher is so compassionate. Krishna knows that the subject which I am going to talk about, it is not that easy. It needs repeated hammering, and therefore he is saying, once again, Arjuna, listen to me. I am going to talk about the ultimate reality. I understand it's very difficult to understand it. So listen to it attentively. And I am going to tell about this for your well-being, for your welfare. And I'm going to tell this because you are listening to my words with all attention. You are relishing what I'm telling. You are seriously listening to me. That's why I'm going to tell it in more detail. Now, in this one verse, what one thing which we can notice, this is what is anugraha. The Guru's anugraha you can see here. Ishvara anugraha you can see here. The divine grace. On the one side, it is divine grace. The Lord himself is coming forward and telling the seekers of the truth. Arjuna is a seeker of truth, and we are all the seekers of truth. It is as if God himself is coming forward and telling, listen to me, my children, those who are serious about it, I am going to once again repeat the true nature of the ultimate reality. So listen to me attentively. That kind of a bhava is there here, which depicts full compassion and also the grace, the divine grace which Sri Krishna is showering upon Arjuna and through Arjuna upon all of us. And of course, there is the readiness, the preparedness from Arjuna's side. It is a both-way, two-way communication. It is not just one way. From Arjuna's standpoint, the preparedness is there, and from the standpoint of Krishna, it is all compassion and grace, anugraha, a beautiful thing. It is in and through this kind of a chemistry, the great thing emerges. What is one person gets illumined, enlightened, and freed from the captivity of this bondage. This is what happens. And why shall I speak about it? Krishna is saying that once again I am going to tell you, Arjuna, bhuyaye, once again. But why? Why once again? The reason is this, the next verse. Why Krishna is saying that I am going to tell you once again about the ultimate reality? The reason is that Name vidus suraganaha prabhavam namaharshayah ahamadirhi devanam maharshinam cha sarvashah. Krishna is saying that I am going to tell you once again about the ultimate reality. Why? The reason is that my true nature is not known even by the great gods and even by the great rishis. Means it is not so easy to understand. Even the great gods and goddesses, the divine beings in this creation, and even the great rishis, even they fail to understand my true nature. Na me viduhu, na me prabhavam viduhu, suragana na maharshayah. Two categories of beings have been mentioned here. One is suraganaha. Suragana means the different gods and goddesses. And maharshaya, the different rishis, the elevated beings. So Sri Krishna is saying that even the elevated beings and even the so-called gods and goddesses, they fail to understand my prabhavam. My prabhavam means what? My majesty, my true nature, my transcendent nature. My transcendent nature, Brahman in its true nature, even the great gods and the rishis, they fail to fully capture it. They fail to understand my origin. Prabhavam can be taken in two senses, Shankaracharya says. Either you can take it in the sense of majesty, the true nature of the ultimate reality, or it can be taken in the form of origin. From where has this so-called ultimate reality origin? Has it really origin? Does it have an origin? That is the question. So, even the great so-called sages and even gods and goddesses, they fail to understand about my origin and my majesty, my true nature. They fail to understand it. Ahamadirhi devanaham arshinam cha sarvasha. And why do they fail to understand this? So Sri Krishna is saying that because they will fail, they will not understand me correctly, because I am their origin. They have emerged and originated from me. How can they understand me? Those things which have originated from me, they are all so-called finite beings, finite things. How can these finite, small beings know me who am the infinite? How can the limited know the limitless, boundless reality? So even these so-called limited entities, they may be elevated beings like gods and goddesses. They may be, what should I say, elevated souls like rishis or sages. But no matter what they are, yet they fail to understand my true nature because they have been originated from me. How can they know me? Means here Sri Krishna wants to say that this topic is a bit difficult. That is why I have to repeat it once again here, Arjuna. So listen to me carefully. So, aham adirhi devanam maharshinam cha sarvashah. I am their origin. All the rishis and so-called the gods and goddesses, they have originated from me. How can they know my true nature? I who am actually speaking, what is my true nature? That is what is the topic of the next verse. I who am limitless, did I have an origin? So Sri Krishna says in the third verse here, Yo mamajamanadim cha Vetti lokamaheshwaram asammudha samarteshu sarva papai pramuchyate. So Krishna is going to talk about this ultimate reality because Krishna says even the great sages and even the gods and goddesses, they fail to understand me. How will they understand me? Because they have emerged from me. What has emerged from me? These limited beings. How can they know me who am the limitless infinite? How can they know about my origin? But do I really have an origin? I don't have an origin. Krishna says in the next verse here, Yo mam ajam anadim cha vetti lokamaheshwaram. Any person who knows me, knowing me means what? The ultimate reality. The ultimate reality is what? Does it have an origin? We have an origin. We so-called, the wave has got an origin. Does the ocean have an origin? Ocean doesn't have an origin. A wave emerges from the ocean. The waves can be elevated beings, but these elevated beings, no matter what they are, yet they are waves. How can this wave, this limited wave, capture the extensity of ocean? It is difficult. So how can they understand what is the ultimate nature of this ocean? And does the ocean have an origin? So Krishna says, anyone who knows me, how? Ajam, ajanma. I am the unborn reality. There is no origin of me. There is no origin of me. There is no cause. I am the causeless reality. Unoriginated, I am eternally existing. Everything else emerges from me, but I don't emerge from any other cause. Everything emerges from me. I am the cause of everything here, but nothing has caused me. I am the causeless reality. I am the birthless reality. Ocean is not caused by anything else. Waves are caused by the ocean. So anyone who knows me in this way, I who am the causeless, birthless, ajam. Ajam is what? Birthless. And anadam. Anadam means beginningless. The wave has got a beginning, but the ocean is beginningless. Similarly, anyone who knows the supreme reality, the Ishvara in this way, as unborn and beginningless, Yomam ajamanadim cha vetti lokamaheshwaram, and knowing me as a lord of everything. Ocean is the lord of all the waves. The ocean is the Lord of all the waves. Similarly, anyone who knows this Ishvara to be the Lord of everything here, the absolute sovereignty of Brahman. To put it in English language, we have to see the absolute lordship of Brahman or Ishvara. Your Ishvara is the Lord of everything. Anyone who knows me in this way, asammudha, this person is absolutely undeluded. He is understanding things correctly. Asammudha samartyeshu. Among all the mortal beings, this person is asammudha, undeluded. He is seeing things clearly. Asammudha samartyeshu sarva papai pramuchyate. He becomes freed from all the sins. Sins means he becomes freed from the captivity of birth and death. He becomes freed from the so-called the cycle of birth and death. He attains khandana bhava bandhan. So Krishna says, see, this is the ultimate so-called knowledge. That is experiential knowledge where one's understand the ultimate reality to be unborn and beginningless. One who has got the experiential knowledge of the ultimate reality as unborn and beginningless, which is the cause of so-called manifestation, but which in itself is uncaused and birthless and limitless and beginningless. Anyone who has got this kind of an experiential understanding of the ultimate reality, that person alone is non-deluded. That means everybody else who has got the opposite kind of understanding of the situation, that person is deluded. We are all deluded. Actually speaking, we are all deluded. We have to admit this point. We are all suffering from a delusion, and that's why we suffer in life. So this person is asammudha, a person who is not deluded. Asammudha samartyeshu sarva papai pramuchyate. This person will be freed from all the so-called the defects of whatever we are doing here. So this is the fruit of this attaining this ultimate knowledge of the supreme reality. This is the fruit. Now, as I said before, one more verse we can take. I think it will be good if we take these two verses in the next class, where I can just sum up before going ahead. So here this first 10th chapter starts with this idea where Sri Krishna says, once again, hey Arjuna, I'm going to talk about this ultimate reality. Once again, I'm going to talk because you are a person who are serious about it. You relish listening to this wisdom. That means actually it is anugraha. It is a grace, divine grace coming from the teacher, Guru Kripa or Ishvara Kripa, which is being showered on the seeker of the truth. Listen, my dear, listen to me. I'm going to talk about this ultimate reality. Because you're serious about it. Priyamanaya, you are relishing what I'm talking about. And I am serious about your welfare. I really want to see you breaking away from this bondage. Our true well-being is what? As far as we jivas are concerned, where lies our true well-being? Our true well-being is only in khandana bhava bandhana. To make that thing a reality, I'm going to once again talk about this ultimate reality. Why this is difficult? Why it is difficult? Even the great rishis and the so-called gods and goddesses, they fail to understand me because they are all born from me. How can they understand me? I am their origin, and do I have an origin? I don't have an origin. So any person who understands me in this way, the ultimate reality as causeless and beginningless, that person will be freed from the so-called the cycle of birth and death. This is how this 10th chapter starts. Now here, the next verse comes, a beautiful verse, a series of items. I don't want to take it now because we will have to handle two verses. These two verses together, they give us a beautiful picture where Sri Krishna is telling that you see whatever is existing here, whatever is happening inside your psychophysical system, it's a very profound observation. Whatever is happening inside this, it is all proceeding from that supreme reality. Whatever is happening, good as well as bad. Amazing observation. It is a very profound observation about what is happening inside each human being. Whether it is good or bad, the source of everything is one supreme reality alone. It is from Ishvara alone that everything is proceeding. This we shall take up in the next class. It's a beautiful discussion. And from that, slowly then Krishna will begin to tell us about how this one reality is manifested in so many forms, and it is all meant to facilitate meditation so that we can fix our mind on the supreme reality and we can experience that supreme reality. That is the main topic of discussion in the 10th chapter. So, this we will take it up in the next class. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat.